Well, good morning, guys. Today I'm going to change out my valve cover gaskets. The indication is this. If you look down here, I got oil staining all in there. And the valve cover gaskets were a bit loose. I tightened them up. I think it's still leaking. And so I'm going to just take the whole valve covers right off and replace them. Same thing going on this opposite side. This is going to be easier to take the wires off. I've labeled the wires so that it's easier to put them back into place in the right order. These wire things, you can pop them off at the bottom, but I find it just as easy and maybe a little less damaging to slide this out. You just take this end and you just dislocate it out like that, and it pulls down and you can get the wires out. Now that the wires are out of the way, I'm going to put some engine degreaser on the exhaust manifold before the cover gaskets are on, because I don't want to get any debris into the rocker area. I made up this small volume attachment for my shop vac, and now I'm going to vacuum out this space on either side to try and prevent the debris that's undoubtedly accumulated there from dropping into the rocker covers when I open that up. So to get this little plastic clip off, you get something underneath it and pry it this way and it just pops off. And to get the wires out, you can see it's got a little thing you pull on here, and then with the other hand you take a screwdriver and you pry this out and the wire's released. These are 11mm deep sockets. Some of these are tricky. For this one here, the medial right side, I used a 1/4" medium deep socket with UJ. Now the rocker covers are off, and I've laid out the bolts in order. This is front and this is back. The tricky one was this one here, which is a blind access site, so you couldn't really see. It actually had two nuts, the first holding a ground wire in place, and then the second bolt that threaded out normally. And then over here, here's the undersurface of the right rocker cover. Nothing very remarkable. You notice there's a cover that prevents any access to the PCV valve from underneath. Here's the replacement part. It wasn't cheap, but hopefully it will help to keep things clean. So after a good length of time using a razor blade to clean the surfaces off, we'll put on the new gasket. I'm not using any RTV here. And then on with the rocker cover. I've got them all done up now, finger tight. The dealer's manual calls for a torque of 95 inch-pounds, which is not very tight, but I'm not going to use a torque meter for this. They don't specify the tightening sequence, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And don't forget this ground screw in the back. And I'm taking the opportunity to put a little dab of dielectric grease on each of the boots just to make it easier to take out the next time. You'd be surprised how much emphasis Dodge put on the correct spark plug wire routing here. I think it must be because they've had some difficulty with misfires. Well, I've switched over to the driver's side now, and you can see that after quite a bit of work to get this clean, it's just about ready. The driver's side is pretty much the same as the opposite side. This is the front, this is the rear. These are all the bolts. You can see each is different. The hardest one was this one here, because you couldn't see with the limited access with the brake booster in the way. And what you eventually end up doing is you get a screwdriver into this plastic piece, which is a support for some of the wiring, and you pry that up and it just pops up and out, and then you can get a wrench on the bolt. So if this video helped you out and you want to see more of them, hit like or subscribe or leave a comment. I'd love to hear what others say. Thanks for watching.